There is a long, dirty history in American politics of using terrifying threats about terrorism to pursue some other totally unrelated political goal.
All right, the terrorists have won, ladies and gentlemen, a 9-0 vote by the Landmark Commission of New York, clearing the way for a mosque to be built at the site of Ground Zero.
The radio host Rush Limbaugh saying building a mosque at the site of a former Burlington coat factory in Lower Manhattan is a victory for the terrorists who attacked us on 9/11. Senator Jim DeMint also said if TSA screeners are allowed to be in unions, then, also terrorism.
When we formed the airport security system, we realized we could not use collective bargaining and unionization because of that need to be flexible. Yet that appears to be the top priority now of the administration. These things are not going to appease the terrorists. They're going to keep coming after us, and we can't have politics as usual in Washington, and I'm afraid that's what we've got right now with airport security.
Allowing TSA screeners to be in unions, terrorism. During the 2006 midterms, the threat from the administration then was if you vote for Democrats, terrorism.
However they put it, the Democrat approach in Iraq comes down to this: the terrorists win and America loses.
Up the threat stakes to nuclear, and fear-mongering politicians have used that to go after even bigger political goals totally unrelated to the thing they are threatening you with.
We don't want the smoking gun to be a mushroom cloud.
We cannot wait for the final proof, the smoking gun that could come in the form of a mushroom cloud.
Saddam Hussein did not have a nuclear program. That threat was not real, but that is such a big, terrifying, fake threat, a mushroom cloud, that it's the kind of thing that can scare us into even really big, unrelated policy disasters.
What we know for a fact from a number of defectors who've come out of Iraq over the years is that Saddam Hussein is absolutely determined to acquire nuclear weapons and is building them as fast as he can.
We read in the New York Times today a story that says that Saddam Hussein is closer to acquiring nuclear weapons. Does he have nuclear weapons? Is there a smoking gun here?
The smoking gun is an interesting phrase.
And as we saw in reporting just this morning,
what specifically has he obtained that you believe would enhance his nuclear development program?
America's fear-mongering history about the nuclear end of the world is kind of too bad, because it is not fear-mongering to talk about the nuclear end of the world if you are actually working directly to stop the nuclear end of the world. That is the job of one part of the United States government. It's an obscure office in the Department of Energy called the National Nuclear Security Administration. They lock down unprotected loose nuclear material around the world to keep it off the black market and out of terrorist hands, which, without being hysterical about it, does seem like an important job when you consider that groups like Al-Qaeda have said over and over again that they want to buy nuclear material so they could use it in a terrorist attack, and there is evidence that they have tried to buy it on the black market. There is part of the U.S. government that finds the most vulnerable nuclear material in the world and secures it. So if you're worried about this sort of thing, the appropriate response is, good, I'm glad we're doing that. After that agency locked down 111 pounds of nuclear material in Ukraine around Christmas time, we hosted the head of the National Nuclear Security Administration here on this show. We christened him the Undersecretary for Saving the World. Now the Republicans in Congress want to strip the funding for that agency. Even though they said they wouldn't make any national security cuts, they want to cut $550 million from the agency that locks down unprotected loose nuclear material to keep it off the black market around the world. Which means that, for what may be the first time in U.S. history, an ad that starts this way is actually true and is not fear-mongering.
What I am about to tell you sounds crazy, but it's true. Speaker John Boehner is making it easier for terrorists to get nuclear weapons.
Sounds crazy, also true. It sounds like a generic Be Afraid ad from the Bush administration era. In this case, Republicans really have proposed making it $500 million easier for terrorists to get nuclear material. That was the first line of a new ad voiced by retired Lieutenant General Robert Gard. He's part of a counterproliferation group that is running these ads against the nuke terrorism cuts in key congressional districts. Listen.
Speaker John Boehner and the House Republicans cut hundreds of millions of dollars from a successful U.S. program to secure dangerous weapons-grade nuclear material all around the world. Terrorists can make nuclear weapons with it. John Boehner's reckless cut to our nuclear security budget goes way too far. We all want Congress to cut the budget, but do it responsibly.
The ads are targeting not just John Boehner, but Mitch McConnell, Eric Cantor, Paul Ryan, Hal Rogers, and Thad Cochran, all elected Republicans supporting this big cut. This big cut to the part of the U.S. government that actually works on that whole smoking gun mushroom cloud problem, instead of just freaking you out about it to accomplish some other unrelated political thing. We do not have a word in the English language that means the opposite of fear-mongering, but if we ever do have that word, this will be the example next to that word in the political science dictionary.